The HottyToddy Chat, brought to you by HottyToddy.com.
This is Adam, the sports editor Adam Brown.
And this is Jack Couch.
Today we're going to look at just how the Rebels have done going into this week as they travel to Athens. They're coming off a very hard-fought loss to Vanderbilt over the weekend of 74-71. Jamin Brakefield just looked awesome as he had 15 points with 12 boards against the Commodores, but just couldn't get over the hump as they head into the final stretch of the SEC play.
Yeah, and the trouble with Ole Miss right now is that away team. And, being away and having that, even the crowd at Vanderbilt still enough to sway a game like that. And we looked solid in the first half, as we usually do. In the second half, we went in and just weren't able to keep up scoring points. First half, we were neck and neck. Second half, we were very neck and neck. It's just those last plays of the fouling and figuring out where everybody should be and being able to get open to score, we weren't able to do this week.
It's one of those situations, too, to where, it seems like there's a 3 or 4 minute stretch to where the team can't find the dominant score.
Oh, yeah. And what was fun on the court about that is that we had 3 of the top 10 SEC blockers out there. We had 2 for Ole Miss and 1 for Vanderbilt. And, there was 10 blocks in the game. It was an impressive defensive game. But to still have, 71 points versus 74 and just not have that key component near the end of the game is what crushed us. And we couldn't get open and past all their defense to just shoot the goal.
And then going from that, you have the girls who are just dominating on the court. Coach Yeo and her staff have won 8 SEC games this season with a win yesterday over a talented Florida team and held them to just 46 points.
Yeah, and it was a great game defensively. Just us being able to manhandle essentially a great Florida team, as you're saying. They're, positive on the season and looking great to make it, the big dance for them. And us being up there we're starting to get up there to the point where we're going to be with LSU and South Carolina, where we're going to be undefeated in a couple of years and be able to make a real push to the playoff or to the Final Four, even the, championship. And that's what we're looking forward to, is having this defensive and offensive battle on the women's side, is that we're just being able to dominate both sides of the court.
Coach Yeo has really brought in a good system with it being her 5th year at the helm. And 2, you had Shakira Olsen last year. Well, now you have Madison Scott leading the way with Angel Baker, Snitty Collins. You have 3 dominant players. Then you added Maya Taylor to it. And it's just been unreal to see the progression that they've had this year.
Oh, it's been very impressive. And it's very interesting to see how much better that they're going to do this year from last year. And that's that I feel like this team is more solidified than previous years. And that's such a big aspect of this sport, is having a solid 5 on the court and being able to have that camaraderie out there. And that, again, that we're making strides to, we're going to be top 4 in the SEC this year. Or at least we should be. Unless something dramatic happens, we should definitely be up there. Oh, but it's going to be very, very impressive this year.
Right now we are in the top 4. We're number 4 in the SEC. But the stretch that they're about to go on, like Coach Yeo said yesterday after the game, it's good that we have a week off before we play Kentucky, because they go Kentucky, South Carolina, and have 3 home games left to go before the end of it, February 28th. It's just one of those situations to where the SEC has been dominant, and the Rebels have looked well.
They have looked very good. Just, SEC dominance, might as well talk about football and how that we're going. And our recruiting class wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but we still got 2 very good 4-stars out of it. You look at Damon Williams from Arizona, the quarterback coming in, and watching his film, it was very impressive. He's Coach Kiffin's type, to say the least. He's able to be mobile. He's definitely able to sling the ball. I mean, if he finds a wide receiver open downfield, he can sling it 65, 70 yards. I mean, just an impressive young man coming into the system.
I mean, adding that into the system, but just looking at what the quarterback room's going to look like just this spring alone. I mean, you have Dort, you have Spencer Sanders, you have Walker Howard, and him too. I mean, it's
going to be a very, very competitive room. Now, I'm interested to see how Dart's going to hold up with the veteran Spencer coming in. And he's got 1 year left, and he decided to come to our gunslinging offense. And having that veteran come in and teach either how to run a team or how to see a team, or even if he can win the spot. It's not like Dart hasn't started for 2 years at two different, power schools. We've been dominant last year and dominant this year. And I think that him coming into his third year overall, he's kind of figured out near the last games where all the linebackers are going to be and how the defenses are moving in the SEC and even in the Big Ten and the ACC with Georgia Tech and Texas Tech. And we're going to be able to – I'm interested to see how he's going to be able to find those open spots on the defense, which he hasn't been able to in the past year.
Well, when he hasn't been able to, he's been able to run the ball.
Yes.
Which goes back to what Ole Miss has done since Matt Luke.
Yeah, and I mean, we are a dominant running team right now, especially with Quinshon Judkins coming back, my number one pick for Heisman. But he's going to be great, and I think that Dart, with his running ability, is going to be a little bit more contained this year. The only teams that we're going to face again, like Alabama, who he put up 142 yards of offense, if I can remember, of total running offense. And even Kentucky. There's going to be teams that are going to they're going to look at Dart and they're going to look at Judkins, and I think that they're going to lock down that front. I mean, even that he's, shifty and can get out into the field, I think that it's going to be very much not the Power 5 that we see. We're going to be very, controlled this next year, which is going to leave open this throwing game that we now have a lot of assets for. Especially, that's why I'm very excited to have LSU Walker coming in.
Mm-hmm. And too, from the offense side of the ball, you got to look at what Golding's going to do on the defense side of the ball.
Oh yeah, and I'm very excited about this defense, and to have the Alabama coordinator, I'm forgetting his name, Pete Golden coming in. I got to get my facts right. I'm clicking into the football and I'm doing all the research on the quarterbacks as we're going, so it's going to take me a second to get all these names right. But I'm very excited about him coming in and being able to figure out what our defense is going to be. I think we're really going to hold up to that land shark name this next year. Now that we're going to have it's hard to say. I think that we're going to have a very dominant defense this next year, where we are going to shut down everything in the backfield like we have been. Our DBs are first class, as are most of our skill players usually are. And I'm excited to see how the defensive line, and the linebackers are going to change and be able to put that hammer on and go right down and be able to be dominant next year. And we have recruits coming in. We have 5-star linebacker. Oh God, what's his name again? Yeah, I can't pull it. Next time I'll get it for you. But we have the 5-star linebacker coming in who's going to be dominant, and he was in high school, and he's going to be able to, even as a freshman, I think that he might have a fighting chance to start.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to be plugging holes like we weren't able to last year. We're giving up way more run defense than we were passing. And that's all of, we're going to have bigger guys, we're going to have better, we're going to have this better sense of this hole needs to be filled here, here, and here. We're going to be able to run up the middle. I think with Pete Golden coming in is that we're going to have that defense to control that run game, and that's going to be huge for Ole Miss going forward.
To go on with that, you got the run game, and you got contain a passing game, which Ole Miss has done well in the past. There's been some games that we've gotten outscored on, but for the most part, we've been able to contain both the run and more the pass than the run at times.
Yeah, and I'm very excited for that. And I'm excited to see we're going to have very much two sides of offense. We're going to have a running, shifty, we're going to be moving across the field, and you're going to get lateral or horizontal more than vertical. And then we're going to have a vertical team. I mean, we're going to have Walker come in, and he's going to sling that ball down the field, very accurate. And we're going to have to be able to protect him on the offensive line, which I'm waiting to see if we can do. But if we can have him sit in there and then run Spencer in to be able to do shifty plays, he can pass and be that in between, and then we can have Dart run in and be a wildcat for most of it.
Yeah.
Just like John Rice Plumlee was a couple of years ago. I think that he'd be a great asset to move around, be shifty. He comes in, you don't know if he's going to run or pass, because I think he's going to have that option now.
Right.
And that's what's going to be very, very impressive to me.
And then you look at that and look at the wide receivers that we have, but also look at the tight ends. We brought in that tight end from Memphis that's just going to be able to use a portion of the offense that Kiffin has always liked to use as a tight end.
Yeah, look at him coming in. It reminds me of blasphemy, but it's Dawson Knox. He looks exact like his play style. He's very, I'm going to go and hit you again and hit you for a third time, and now I'm going to go vertical down the field.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to want to get hit that third time by that big old tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And that blindside hit hurts more than anything. And I'm excited to see that he's going to be able to be shifty over to the right, to the left, block, And we're going to have multiple tight ends being able to do that this next year, which is going to be very impressive. So, and then even on top of that, with the blocking of the tight ends, we're going to have those out routes and the slants over the middle, which we haven't been able to put together this year. And I'm excited for next year that we're going to have that opportunity. And then on the outside, I even need to bring up our wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys, we're special teams U here.
Right.
We are the number one special team, or specialists in the nation. We are able to be dominant on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Just, thinking of just top of the mind, you had Mingo even go out in the Senior Bowl and make 3 catches in the first half. I mean, that was more than any other player did the entire game. It was very impressive to see us have Mingo go out there and be like, oh yeah, we are still the best at wide receivers and tight ends.
I mean, you look at the Rich Senior Bowl and the Shiner Bowl, you had Mingo do well. You actually had A.J. Finley do awesome in the Shiner team.
Oh yeah, Finley's going to go far. He is a smart kid. I mean, he's finishing almost a 4.0 from what I believe, and he is just crushing it. And he's going to be a great asset for wherever team's going to take him next year. And him being a senior, even getting hurt, he's able to rally his team, these defensive backs, and be, hey guys, I know that I'm hurt. I'm going to be on the sideline coaching y'all every week. There's no slacking up. There's no giving up about this play. He's going to be the guy that's going to be very adamant on the defensive side of the ball in the NFL. I think he has a great shot to just be a dominant player coming out of college.
Looking at that, I mean, let's move into like the professional now. Like, we know that this is a big week. This is Super Bowl week.
Oh yeah.
But we're coming off of a Pro Bowl weekend in which skill challenges were fun to watch.
Oh, very fun. And it was fun to see Dawson Knox go out there. Dawson Knox had 2 touchdowns in flag football,
Yep.
which I don't know is great or not great, but he was very dominant on the flag football field, which is good to see. And to have multiple Rebels out there was very, it's very fun to watch and see that, hey, we got guys that are still dominant out here. Even though Evan Ingram didn't make it this year, he's always been a contender for the Pro Bowl. And then I believe that DK made it, but I didn't get to see a whole lot of his.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of his performances. But I saw an article earlier today that said that DK had just bought a house in Los Angeles and in Taylor.
Really?
From his new contract.
Huh. I could see him being, he'll be around.
Yeah, he will.
And I'll tell you what, he likes hooping here at South Rec on campus as well. He goes out there every once in a while, and he's the friendly face that you see around campus for sure.
He was big. He was big in high school. While I covered him in high school, he was big in track and field and football and basketball.
And that's just how he's going to be. He's always been the big man on campus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just how he's always going to be. He's just a dominant. And you look at highlight reels from DK Metcalf of him being able to chase down an interception and tackle. And being able to, go play basketball in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
And that he's an athlete. And that's all you can say about him is that he's an athlete. And he's a Pro Bowler. And that's how it's going to be from now on. Hopefully they get him a quarterback pretty soon. I believe that they're going to draft a quarterback first round. But I'm waiting to see. And Geno Smith wasn't bad this year.
He really was.
You know, looking at what Russell Wilson did this past year makes me wonder if it was coaching or quarterback. And Geno, I mean, he got out there and he was able to really put in the work with DK. And he was able to do all of that and just be a dominant force. DK's just been a dominant force. And then you go and look at Dawson Knox and Evan Ingram, and they've been dominant forces on their team. Dawson Knox had, God, this is going to kill me. I think it was 16 touchdowns on the year, almost won every game, and then he had 3 in the postseason.
Which was like either the first or the second best in the league this year.
Exactly. And I think that he was just dominant on that team and being able to get open and just see the open field. You can watch in Dawson Knox's eyes. When he has to shed his block, he's able to get open no matter what.
Just looking back at what we were talking about, just maybe into the Super Bowl game itself, with the Eagles and Chiefs. Just what are your thoughts on the game coming up?
I'm really excited about the game. I think this is the first thing I'll say. I think the over is going to hit 100%. And you're telling me earlier today that Patrick Mahomes might not even play.
Yeah, I heard that over the weekend that with the high ankle sprain it might not happen, but who knows?
Yeah, and with a high ankle sprain, I think that he can power through this. It's not something that's going to get better. Let's put that first. This is a high ankle sprain. This takes a month to a month and a half to fix, and that's how it is. So I think that Patrick Mahomes, it's something you can play through. It definitely is. And if the doctors come and they go, hey, Patrick, it's either your career or this game. I think that if they say that, he's going to go, okay, it's my career, I'm going to sit out this game. But if not, I think he's going to be out on the field, even though if he's rough and can't move around as well. I think he's going to be fine to go and play this game. I think you can't give up a Super Bowl like this, and that's what's important.
I mean, even if he doesn't play the whole game, you have Chad Henne who has orchestrated drives well for them this year. So, I mean, yeah.
And he did it for the Jaguars. He did it for multiple years with the Jaguars. And he's able to get out there. But I think this is more of a team. You have Patrick Mahomes out there. Mm-hmm. The best, if not like top 20 quarterback of all time out on the field with you. That is some major boost to going forward. And I really think that this is how it's going to be. It's going to be an offensive powerhouse game. It's going to come down to a defense can stop them more than once. And I don't think it's going to happen. I think that there's going to be less than 7 punts this game. I think that you're at least going to get a field goal every time that you get a stop. Because those two quarterbacks are just too dynamic. I think it's legitimately going to come down to, I think it'll be 37-34 in the fourth, and it's just going to come down to that last field goal. And I do have our boy A.J. Brown winning. I have him having at least 6 catches at the minimum. And I fully believe that he's going to have a touchdown and over 75 yards this game. It is everything looking forward to a breakout game for him.
Do you think for Jalen Hurts it's one of those situations where the game might be too big for him?
See, in Jalen Hurts, no, I don't think so. He's been in these big game situations before. He has. Look at him in Alabama. Look at him in Oklahoma. Both those games. You know how hard it is for you to be benched during your game and then have Tua come out and start over him. That is a defining moment of his career, and it always will be. And him not being able to perform against Georgia in the 2017 national championship. And that's just something that he had to get over. And he eventually went to Oklahoma, where he was able to fight back, and that was just a step in his way that he had to overcome. And I think that Hurts has been there. He's been in these big game situations. He's always been Mr. Cool. Same with Joe Burrow. They are very calm, cool, collected. Sure, they get fired up on the sidelines for their team and for everything else, but they are very much going to be this. He is very much going to be able to handle this and act like this is where he's supposed to be. It's not like he hasn't been the big man on campus before. He was at Alabama. He had those big games, even in the national championship where he got pulled. He didn't have a terrible game there. It was just they went with a different quarterback for the defense that the Georgia planned. And having that switch up really threw him off. But I think that he's going to be excellent this game. And this is where he has something to prove. And he's going to be out there and just, I think he's going to throw for 300 yards, 300 plus yards. I think they're going to sit him back, and the first play is going to be a passing play. Get him comfortable in the atmosphere, and just let him go out and do his thing. This is he needs to think about this as the same game scenario. It might be a big game. It might be the Super Bowl. But he's got to go out there and act like this past week, where he's like, I'm here, and I'm going to win this game. It doesn't matter if this is the opening, this is the pre-game, this is high school ball. It doesn't matter if it's a Super Bowl. He needs to go out there and dominate like he has been all season. And there's no reason that he shouldn't.
I mean, I agree with you. I think it's going to be like a high-scoring game. Both offenses will be able to score on both defenses. You got two very talented quarterbacks who are going after each other, with the wide receivers on both sides that are just unreal.
Dominant, yeah.
And you have Travis Kelce with the Kansas City Chiefs. That's just one of the best tight ends to ever step on the field.
Oh, very much so. And he's just, I mean, talk about a career. Wow, dude. And he's got, they got Juju Smith-Schuster on the outside, and I think that he's going to step up in a big way. And then you got, it's Truman Vidance for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's been stepping up in a massive way. He went from a third string to now a second string, and being able to still put up very good numbers. It's been very impressive to see him step out and break out. And when you have to double team Kelce, guess what? A guy like him's going to be open in the flats, and he's going to be able to make that 10-yard play every time. And Kelce's got to get open in the end zone. That's going to be something that they're going to have to cover, and they did it this past week against number one defense, San Francisco. Just shows me that even with a hurt quarterback or a double-covered Kelce or a triple-covered Kelce even, they're going to be able to make these plays. If not, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is just going to be able to run down your throat as many times as he needs. And he's not a super dynamic running back. He's going to be, I'm going to pound it down your throat, and I'm going to put my head into you and keep driving. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do on offense this next week. And now to talk about the Eagles, you have Hurts, who's, as I said, going to be dominant this week. I think that he's going to have, this is going to be the defining moment of his career. This is going to be, he's going to win. I fully believe that they're going to win this game. And unless something catastrophic happens, this is their game to lose. I mean, they are so dominant all the time, all across the whole season.
So, I agree with you 100%. I think the Eagles win, but I think it's close. I think it's a close game.
I think it's a field goal. I think it's a field goal at the end. It's that last drive where they get it.
I also believe that it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's just whichever defense makes that last stand, your winner's going to be on the other side. But who do you think the MVP of the Super Bowl is going to be?
Well, I hope it would be A.J. Brown. I hope he has a 400-yard game with 5 touchdowns and, he kicks 3 field goals. But realistically, I think it's going to be whichever quarterback pulls this going out. Yeah. It's going to be Jalen Hurts or it's going to be, Patrick Mahomes. And either one, both of them have a case for it. It's like Survivor. Both of them have a case to win that MVP. Jalen Hurts coming back from an injury, being able to put up historic numbers in Philly, being able to lead this team who was very good last year to a dominant team this year. And then you have Patrick Mahomes, who has been essential to this Kansas City team for the past 4 years that he's been with them.
And only 27 years old.
At that, yeah. And he's going to be, and even looking at, if he's hurt this game and they win that game, he gets it 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Because he's the guy. And I think that even if, he gets hurt or is not able to play the second half or they don't even start him, I think that he might not get it, but if he goes out in the second half, I think that he'll still be able to receive that just because of what he's done this season for him.
I know that's probably a weird question, but since we're on the topic, do you think that we're looking at, like, in Jalen Hurts and then Patrick Mahomes, are we looking at a newer Tom Brady and Peyton Manning situation, or is that kind of like this?
Here's so that was the generation that's now gone. It was what I grew up with.
Yep.
You had, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, Big Ben, Tom Brady, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, the Manning brothers. Mm-hmm. I mean, all of those were dominant quarterbacks. And now you're looking at every quarterback that's out there right now. Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. You have Justin Herbert, who's figuring out his offense. You have
and then Daniel Jones
is who I was about to say. Yeah.
It's not a bad quarterback. Because,
No.
I mean, like, since he played for David Cutcliffe, the Giants were thinking, oh, that's going to be the next Eli Manning, which it could be. It very well could be.
And he fits that offense well. That's what they did. They were like, you're like Eli Manning. You're going to fit our offense. You're going to be dominant on the field with us. You understand how we're going to play. And every year that he's been there, they have done so much better because he's just understanding the play style and how he's wanting to play now. I think it's going to be that much better for him. So, and just, I don't know if it's a new greatest generation of quarterbacks. That's what it always is. But looking at the past generation, those are all Hall of Famers, I think. All 6 of them should be. They should be Hall of Famers.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Will be. And this year, or this now new era of football, you're looking at all these players and you're like, how are you? They all seem so much like the old generation. And you look at Matt Ryan compared to this new league. It's no longer we're going to sit in the pocket, we're going to be protected, and we're going to throw it. It's you got to be a little shifty, and you got to be able to get out of the pocket, and be able to run, and be able to make plays that shouldn't be made. You look at Patrick Mahomes' side throw. You look at Brock Purdy. Even in this past weekend, 2 weekends ago, I should say, before he got hurt, he was able to side-armed, laying out, throw the ball just like Patrick Mahomes' famous pass was. That he's able to do that, and Patrick Mahomes is able to do that, proves to me that there's a new class of quarterback about to come through. And that's what's going to be awesome about watching the NFL. You never know who's going to be that star player.
You really don't, because it could come out anywhere. But the interesting thing is, it's going to be like as a Cowboys fan, you look at and watch Dak Prescott and just wonder, okay, how far is he going to take us in the playoff run? Is he just a quarterback that can just get us through the regular season, win the East, and that'd be it? But, like, I'm interested to see where this class goes up to this year. Who goes where when you have the Will Levis from Kentucky.
I think Will Levis' draft stock just went way up, but
Oh, yeah.
call it blasphemy, but I think he looks exactly the same as Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson had a great day. He can go and throw those, like, shorts, t-shirt, let's go throw a 90-yard pass down the field, have it be a great completion, all of this. And then Will Levis had that as well. It's if he can get in pads, get hit, and be dominant on the field. Because both of those quarterbacks look pretty much identical in my book going into the draft. Both of them were shifty, dominant, very much being able to play. And even Ole Miss playing them, we struggled with Will Levis. That was the top team. That was the best Kentucky was ever going to be this season until we beat them. And they were just a dominant team until they came and played us. And Will Levis had that same demeanor of, yeah, I'm that guy. I'm going to be him. We're going to throw the ball. And if I don't get hit, I'm going to be able to make this play. But it's that going back to being like, if you're not the shifty quarterback, it's going to be tough for them to be able to hold you down.
Okay, let's take a look at just what's coming up in the next week or two. We have baseball on the horizon.
Baseball's awesome. Again, I said it last week. It's buzzing around campus. We have the the chair run going on this Friday at 1 o'clock. You could come watch all the students run out there and try not to get hit by baseballs. For some reason, every year they want to go and do baseball practice right there. Let's hit dingers into the student section. Let's see who gets hit and who doesn't. Every year it happens, I'm telling you. One person gets hit and they are mad.
Well, I tell you, I think I told you last week too, it may not be on the show, but you look at the new seating arrangement out there next to the student section is really nice now.
Oh, it's very nice. And it looks, that whole scaffolding last year that was held together by, duct tape and pine straw, essentially what it was. It's a legit setup back there. And it's going to be, I'm interested to see who gets to sit up there. If it's, like they're treating it as box suites or if they're treating it as a higher class pay.
I think it's the same way it was last year. If you paid the premium amount to park on the old park it on the old tennis court, you get your spot back.
Oh, that's awesome then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it just ended.
No, we're good.
Oh, it's still going?
Yeah, I'll cut this out.
Okay, my bad. I saw it pop up and I was like, oh man, that might be trouble.
Yeah. But no, so, I mean, yeah, this year's going to be interesting just to see how come opening day next Friday, it's just going to be how they unveil the national championship part of it to fans.
I mean, it should be a grandiose gesture. That's what it should be. And we won the national championship. Not everybody can say that. Not every school can say that they've ever won one. And we did it in baseball, one of the hardest sports to do it in the entire nation. We might as well be, hey, we're here. We were dominant. And us being ranked 4th, I saw us ranked 24th on one. That's not how this is supposed to work.
No.
We're going to be back-to-back champions at this rate. We look great on the field.
I mean, everybody you look at, we're 4th or 24, like you said, but the other SEC team that is being talked about is just LSU being right up there with us.
Yeah, LSU and Tennessee, both of them. Both of them look very good this year. They have almost everybody returning on both teams. And it's just going to be interesting to see how we compete with them.
Yep. But, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's good. Welcome back into the third segment of HottyToddy Chat. We turn it over now to Alyssa, who is our news editor.
Hey. So, for this week, want to start off and tell our residents over there around the North Mar area to keep attention to Chickasaw, because that is going to be closing soon. Whether it may even be closed today, but if it's not, it should be closed at least by Monday. And they are going to close Chickasaw to begin the construction of that roundabout, another roundabout. That'll be at the intersection of Molly Bar and Chickasaw. It is supposed to be done in April, and according to city officials, the contractor has been strongly suggested that they complete it by double-decker weekend. There will be a detour that will take you on Cincinnatus. So you'll use Cincinnatus as your detour. Also, the Stonewater addiction recovery story, I know some people have followed that. That is the juvenile drug and alcohol treatment program out there in the county. And, you know, it's caused some notice because of their runaway situation. They would have boys running away and alerting the neighbors and the sheriffs. And because of all this, the county tried to issue an order in court to get them shut down. So the last that I have heard is that both parties are working together to try to solve that, and that Stonewater is making some improvements to their security, and the new agreements are kind of going back and forth, so there should be an update on that pretty soon. Also coming up soon on February 27th is our arraignments for the court term, and we're paying close attention to those because we've got a couple of cases that we're waiting to see if the people have gotten indicted. Of course, the biggest headline is whether Sheldon Timothy Harrington is going to be indicted in the murder of Jimmy J. Lee. He has been arrested. He was arrested in the summer, but in December he was given a bond. He is out on bond currently. In that case, allegedly, we have not confirmed, but was supposed to go before the grand jury this month. So we, on the 27th, HottyToddy News will be there to report on the indictments and whether he has been served and anything else that is kind of newsworthy. And then, kind of last, certainly not least, when it comes in the world of crime, is these fake bomb threats that have been called into the university. There was one in January, and then there was one this week where luckily nothing was found in either one. But they are coming across on the phone. People are calling them in, probably using a burner phone. And, we just kind of hope that whoever is doing this realizes the disruption. I'm sure they do. That's probably why they do it. But if they get caught, it's really not worth what's going to happen to them just for a prank. So we're glad that they've been nothing, but they probably need to find something else to do with themselves. So that's about it for this week. Thanks for tuning in.